Timeout, overtime, hot take, debate, penalty by so many yaps. We on the way, unapologetic opinions, guests checking in, so I share on my social. Merch going up, my brother, he going global. Ads hold it down for the ladies, they need their own show. But we right back with it, timeout with Coach Cam, we shouldn't miss a minute, yeah. But we right back with it, timeout with Coach Cam, we shouldn't miss a minute, yeah.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Time Out with Coach Cam. It's your boy Cam Chancellor, and of course, I will have Tori with me later on in the show. But first off, we do have to. We will discuss the Bengals hiring a new defensive line coach. Also, some draft scenarios that we will go over. Just to kind of go over our options here because we can't bank on just a couple picks because you never know how the draft goes. We'll discuss the NFL wild card. Excuse me, not the wild card. NFL playoffs yesterday. We'll recap that. Excuse me, and we will also discuss the games today. Go over those and pick winners. Have predictions for that. We will discuss James Harden and his debut with the Nets. Who's the biggest threat to the Lakers? And the most disappointing team right now in the short NBA season. But to get started here, I have to talk about and discuss, what what happened for as the Cincinnati Bengals hiring Marion Hobby as the defensive line coach. Um, just if you don't know much about Marion Hobby, he's very experienced, and it's definitely an upgrade over Nick Eason. No matter how you slice it, it's definitely something that we upgraded with. I'm very happy with the line coaches that we've hired, and Frank Pollock and Marion Hobby. I think that makes us better immediately. And that's just being honest. If I go and look at his track record, in 2017, he was the defensive line coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if you don't know, that was a good defense. They led the league in sacks with 55. This year, he was the Miami defensive line coach. They had 41 sacks. They was 10th in the NFL. Obviously, the pass rush was lacking. So to bring in a coach there that knows what he's doing, and bring in an experienced coach that could get the most out of our players, that's huge. That's huge for us. So I'm definitely happy about the hire. Now the key is let's try to get some players in here, that can fit what he does and actually that he can actually coach up and get the most out of. No matter how good of a coach you are, you still need some talent. And honestly that starts by re-signing Carl Lawson. You got to do those things. You got to re-sign Carl Lawson. There's so many other um, moves that we need to make. We need to sign edge rushers in free agency. So there's a lot of things that we need to do to tighten up our defense and our defensive line. We got to get pressure. Now, one drawback is that the Miami Dolphins weren't that great against the run, and that's kind of concerning a little bit. But however, like I say, he's an experienced coach who I think can get the most out of our players, and that's the most important thing. Being able to get the most out of these players, and I think Marion Hobby will be able to do that as the defensive line coach. Um, and he brings accountability. There was an interview he did when he was a coach, I believe for the Jaguars, and he said no matter how young you are, no matter how old you are, the best players will play. Put your best foot forward, and hey, if you don't make this team, please. Please keep working hard so you can put something on tape. So maybe we can get you a job elsewhere. He just sounded very candid, very sure of what he's doing, and that's that definitely gives me confidence that he could do the job well. No such thing, no such thing as a threat to the Lakers. We'll talk about that later, Freddie. Uh, my boy Big Wayne said we need a healthy Geno Atkins. Yes, we do. We do need a healthy Geno Atkins. I'm not sure if he stays though. I was optimistic that he would stay if Lou was fired. But since Lou is not fired and Lou is still our defensive coordinator, I do see us parting ways with Geno Atkins, whether it by trade or by release and letting pick where he wants to play. I would love to have Geno Atkins and use him the correct way, but we're going to a defense that's that doesn't fit his strong suit. So it looks like we may have to, part ways with Geno Atkins, and that sucks because I still think he got a lot in the tank. He was out there playing with one shoulder, so that's not the Geno that we know. We know Geno got way more than that in the tank. So whoever, if it's not with us, whoever gets Geno Atkins is gonna be very, 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 very happy. With what they get because they're gonna get still a Pro Bowl caliber player. That's for sure. And Geno Atkins. Now moving on because there's a lot of draft talk. A lot of draft talk going on. Obviously of who we want, scenarios, trade back if this piece is not here. And that's all good, fine and dandy. But I do want to give us, some scenarios of, what could happen if certain players are not there. You know, because a lot of people, all I hear is, a lot of people want, Jamar Chase, and that's fine. I like Jamar Chase, and I think he's a great player. You know what I mean? However, you know, a lot of people want Sewell as well. You know, and just to go back, best three tech in football. Yes, Atkins is. He is the best three technique in football. I really do believe that. Um, but a lot of people saying Sewell, or Chase. Well, I give the scenario. What if those two are not on the board? And you guys, please, whoever's watching, I see viewers here. Please comment. I pull up your comments and I respond to them. But my issue is, what if Geno Atkins? What if excuse me, not Geno Atkins? What if Sewell or Chase is not on the board? What do we get? I mean, where we go? And I'll respond to you, Javon. Here, are we ever going to get a decent return for players that leave for whatever reason? You know what, Javon? That's a great question because it seems like we never get the full compensation um, of what we need to get for these players. And the reason why is because we're ran so old fashioned. We haven't gotten with the times where if we see a slight fall off or if we see a player not happy, that we trade them and get something in compensation. However, we play hardball old school. You sign your contract, so you're here with us, and then their value gets low, and then all of a sudden we can't trade them. We have no choice but to release them. That's what's happening. It's just old school thinking, old school philosophy, not buying in with the time. Because anybody else would have traded Geno Atkins and got pieces. Arguably could have got a first or second round pick. Anybody would have traded AJ a couple years ago, get arguably a first or second round pick. I mean, we don't take initiative to do things early enough. Because we're so nervous and letting go a quality player. But you can't run an NFL team and be scared. You got to make moves that's going to help you in the future, especially if you're not winning currently. And it's unfortunate, but we just do business the old school way, Javon. Brad, there. If Sewell's not there, I wouldn't mind Smith. I wouldn't mind Smith either. I like Devontae Smith. I think he's a solid receiver. However, what concerns me with Smith is his durability. He's very little. He's very tiny. At 6 foot 175. I don't want another John Ross situation where he's playing in the AFC North and he gets absolutely, AFC North football is tough. You know what I mean? It's tough football, and you know what you're going to get. They're going to hit you. They're going to hit you hard. And I'm just, concerned about his durability, his athleticism, his skill. I'm not worried about Devontae Smith at all. I'm worried about, will he be able to take these hits? Will he be able to sustain and hold up in the AFC North? That's a concern with me. Now, if we drafted Smith, would I be mad? No, but I would be praying that he could stay healthy because I don't know if he could in this division. Let me see. Michael Parsons is a stud. Trade back 3 spots. I'm hearing Michael Parsons is a stud, and I wouldn't be I wouldn't be upset trading back. I've always said, if Sewell or Chase is not on the board, we need to seriously look at trading back. Micah Parsons would definitely be someone I would take. I would also, if we traded back a couple spots, I would take Kyle Pitts. I would take my chance on Kyle Pitts as well. You talk about a tight end position, um, that can open up the field for Burrow, open up the middle of the field. And we know how Burrow loves to use tight ends. We don't know how CJ Uzama's going to come back off Achilles. Drew Sample showed some promise, but he didn't really give us that vertical threat at the tight end position, or versatility. I feel, he's a good blocker, good underneath route runner. Can do some things there. But far as really opening up the middle of the field and taking advantage of that, I don't think Drew Sample's that guy. So I would definitely look at Kyle Pitts as well. Michael Parsons is in play. Um, you know, I'm all for trading back, like if they're not there. I've seen scenarios where at 5 we pick Slater, which Slater's not a bad prospect at all. I don't know if I'll pick him at 5 though. You know, and from what I'm hearing, Slater and Sewell is not that far apart. I know we love Sewell, and I know we love, we got the idea of, Sewell as a Bengal, but Sewell hasn't played in a year. Sewell plays in the Pac-12, where we haven't heard of many Pac-12 pass rushers being dynamic in the league. So it's concerned there with me with Penny Sewell. I don't think he's a lock for sure. First ballot Hall of Fame offensive tackle, like everyone's thinking. So Slater is the second in line, but I don't know if I would take him at 5. So there's a lot of scenarios to go over because everyone's assuming we'll either get Chase or Sewell, and that's not always the case. And you know how we are with our Cincinnati Bengals. Unfortunately, we don't get luck to go our way all the time. So let's hope that one of those two do fall. I think that's the consensus. How where everyone wants one of those two. But if not, you've got to look at trading back. We got a lot of holes. Let's grab picks, whether second round, third line. Let's try to build this roster up, because let's see here. It says Slater's measurables are concerning. It is. I mean, it is a little concerning, and you do have to look at measurables. You do have to look at athletic testing and some of those things. Sometime, that's I'm not all for like measurable combat things like that, but but sometimes you do gotta look at the film too. The film, don't lie. He played well against Chase Young, last year. He's played well against some premier pass rushers. So when I turn on the tape, I see Slater, I see solid, I see a solid player. I know he's 6'3", 305. I think he got time to, put a little weight on. You know what I mean? Get about extra 10, 15 pounds on that frame. But let me see here. We got, if not Sewell, trade back. So my guy Ben here, my guy B, he say Sewell or bust. He's saying trade back if it's not Sewell. I mean, so if Jamar Chase on the board, you wouldn't possibly look into, grabbing Jamar Chase for Joe Burrow with that familiarity, and then you already got him and T Higgins connecting. Boy, you wouldn't try to put a 3 together like that, because my thing is that there's going to be some good offensive tackles in the top of the second round. Let's not forget. We pick in the top of the second round. I think some of our fans forget there's more than one round. There's more than one round, and so I'm looking at someone like Alex Leatherwood, Bama tackle. He's gonna be out there. What if we address the tackle position in free agency? Draft a Taylor Mouton. You know what I mean? Then what? Let's not forget it's free agency too. Where last year, I mean, hopefully, knock on wood, hopefully the Bengals spend again. But they spent last year and shocked us all. So hopefully we got to get a tackle or a guard that will really help. And like I said, we got a good. Both sides of the line coaches are now solid. I like Marion Hobby. I love the hire of him, and just for people who may not have seen him, may not know who he is. This is Mary. Excuse me. This is Marion Hobby. The defensive line coach, and I really think, like I said, I like both hires. But if we're talking about free agency, we got to make moves. You got to make moves to help these coaches, though. So you got to bring in solid linemen so they can be able to, coach up the position. Let's see here. We need to make a move in free agency. That's why I said trade back. We need multiple players. Now I agree with that. We got multiple holes. Trade back. Uh, you know, get multiple players, get multiple picks. That's the case if Sewell's not there, or Chase for me. I think if Chase is on the board, you gotta try to take a chance on grabbing Jamar Chase, and then maybe in the second round grabbing a Alex Leatherwood, grabbing a Jalen Mayfield from Michigan. I know, Ohio State fan. I know y'all. I said Michigan, but he is a solid tackle, so maybe get a tackle from Michigan. There's other tackles on the board that are solid, and that can play. But I'm all for getting the best player available. So if Sewell's not there and if trade back is not possible, let's get Jamar Chase and let's roll with it. Let's roll with it. Give Burrow that option. You know what I mean? Because we seen what he can do. We seen what Burrow can do, and if we give him a plethora of weapons and we can protect him, this offense, the sky's the limit. You know, so we'll definitely see what we do in free agency. Free agency is in March. So actually March 16th or 17th. So I think we're 2 months away exactly from free agency, which could be very, very exciting. And the draft is obviously in April. So we'll see what we do. We'll definitely see what we do. Let's see here. Jackson Carmen can be gotten in the third round. Exactly. That's what I said. There's a lot of solid picks. And then there's a tackle from North Dakota State who's supposed to be rising up the draft boards. And I've seen his film. He looks like a monster. Like he has a mean streak. So there's a lot of tackles on the board. I know everybody fixed in on Sewell, but if we don't get Sewell, it's really not the end of the world. Like my thing is this: our offensive line don't have to be top three. It just has to be solid. It has to be functionable. Last year it wasn't functionable. When I mean functionable, it has to be a top 15 offensive line. If we get a top 15 offensive line, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Joe Burrow will be fine, and we'll be able to do damage on offense and be able to run. I think run some of the stuff that Zach Taylor really, really, really wants to run. I think a lot of things that Zach Taylor wants to run is scratched out of the playbook because of our offensive line. You know, so it'll be anxious to see what we can do with offensive line and how much the offense can expand. Um, you know, and yes, offense is super hit and super miss. Exactly. Like we could go draft Sewell and he could miss. Like let's think about it. Like I tell people all the time, Pac-12. Name a really a good edge rusher. Uh, name a good edge rusher in the Pac-12. You know, and then he hasn't played in a year. Then he hasn't played in a year. On top of that, that concerns me. The last Oregon tackle we drafted was Jake Fisher. How did that turn out? So it could be hit or miss. Fisher in the backfield. VA. It's silly, man. Um, Let me see. You say you don't like the T. I love the TE from Florida. I just want to get him at 5. I think if we trade it back a little bit, if we trade it back a little bit and like dropped to maybe 8 or 9, I would love Kyle Pitts. Joe Burrow needs a tight end. He loves tight end. It'll open up the middle of the field where Pitts could take advantage of. But I do like him. I just think 5 is a little too early for a tight end. Got to take best available if Sewell isn't there. I agree. If Sewell's not there, get the best available player that you can get that you feel that's on your board. It doesn't matter if you're stacked at that position or not. Get good players. Get good players in the building. That's the most important part. You have to get talent. Um, so I'm all for taking the best available. I'm also for trading down as well and cooping more picks because it's a lot of holes on this Bengals team. But we will see what the moves are. We'll see if Geno Atkins out the door. We'll see if some of these guys out the door. Because I would love to see Geno stay. While he's healthy, but I just don't see it. With Lou still the DC, I don't see Geno staying. All right, answer a couple questions before we move on here. Let's see here. I would love to trade and get an extra second or so. Exactly. I would love that trade. If you tell me we can trade back to even if we trade back to somewhere like 12 and they say we give you 12 this year's second and next year's first, I'm taking it. There's no question about it, I'm taking it. In a heartbeat. And then you recoup another first round pick for next year, and you get an extra second this year with trading back, and then you're able to get a Slater or a Darisaw or someone like that. And both are good tackle prospects to me. When I turn on the tape, I see, you know, top, first round talent when I see those tackles. So it's a good point. I feel like we do better in the second, third round. I agree. I agree. We do better in those rounds. Outside of Joey Burrow, outside of the can't miss prospects, Joe Burrow, things like that. But when when we start picking around like 12-ish through 12 down, it does get a little trouble with the Bengals because they don't know who exactly to pick. They get hurt or something. Like, if it's not a give me, the Bengals kind of screw it up. So we'll see how it goes. I'm definitely excited about the offseason because this is a huge offseason. You got to take a big step from year 1 to year 2 with Joe Burrow. And you got to, take advantage of his years under his rookie contract. All right. Moving on. We are going to recap Saturday playoff games. This is where I bring in Tori. What's going on with you?
Hey Kim, how's it going?
It's going good. And yesterday we had two playoff games. Two games that we was a little excited for. We had the Green Bay Packers versus the Rams, and the in this game really, I thought the Packers would win from jump. I just didn't think the Rams would be able to muster up enough offense with Jared Goff in the cold with that suspect thumb. I just didn't see it happening. I thought if they had a chance, the defense would have had to hold the Packers under like 21 points for a chance. And as we see, they got 32, and the score was 32-18. And I said under 21. That's where you had to try to keep them, and that's very hard to do with Aaron Rodgers.
Watch.
Um, did anything surprise you yesterday? Because it didn't. The scoring outcome of this game really didn't surprise me at all.
I have to probably go ahead and say is that of course I have the Packers winning. As far as Aaron Rodgers, as the Rams, personally, I don't feel like they played bad.
Mhm.
With Jared, he with that broken thumb, it is broken. Uh, he's still 21 for 27, 24 yards, one touchdown.
Mhm.
I just feel that, with the broken thumb coming off of that, I don't think they played bad in a sense, and Akers ran for 90 yards. I don't think that I just feel that generally, as we all probably predicted, the Packers were just a better team.
Mhm.
Uh, and I felt you were correct. The defense, this game would have wholeheartedly fell on the defense. They would have to keep the Packers below that 20 something mark that you said. And they didn't. And as far as that, eventually, I feel like they started off okay. However, if you look at the time of possession of the ball, the Packers in there it's 10 plus minutes on them, and at that point, eventually your defense is going to wear down.
Yep.
And I felt like that's what played out yesterday. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, and then on top of that, with the Packers, they had offensively they had a good game both sides of running and passing. So at that point, it was just again, I don't think the Rams did bad. I just Packers were just better
Yeah,
overall.
and you're right. I think they were the better team coming in this game. And really what shocked me was to be able to um, run the ball the way that they did.
Yeah.
I was expecting the Aaron Rodgers to come out and kind of throw it all over the yard, but to be able to run the ball the way that they did, you talk about, Jamal Williams had over 60 yards, Aaron Jones 99 plus
Plus
yard.
yards.
So it's like, the balance was there. The balance was there. And, Aaron Rodgers really, he had his game face on yesterday. I was watching the game. And he was, he really, really feels like this is it for him. Not to say
Mhm.
that it's, he's going to retire or anything, but he feel like this is the year he has to get his second ring.
Mhm.
He's 37. This is the most complete team the Packers has had offensively and defensively. He has to take advantage of this. You're at home field advantage in Lambeau. You
Mhm.
see the sense of urgency yesterday from Aaron Rodgers. I think one guy dropped the ball, and you just kind of see like kind of cuss him out. You know what I mean? It was really you kind of see Aaron Rodgers, not a rare form, but you see like, okay, he knows it's playoff time. He knows that
Yeah,
this is his chance, and he can't let this. The team can't let this, slip out of their hands because this is the best chance they have to win a title or at least to reach the Super Bowl that
yeah.
has been in a while. Let's see here. My guy B says Roger showed me a little best
Mhm.
supporting cast in a long time, and you know what? I'm glad you bring that up because a lot of people just say they got Devontae Adams, and I don't think that's true. That I think they have very good complementary receivers. You talk about Marcus Valdez Scantling. You talking about Alan Lazar. He dropped a big play yesterday, but then turned around and caught a big play yesterday. Robert Tanyan. And you think about their running backs. They ran 3 running backs yesterday who all, ran well. So I think they got, you know, um, the pieces to succeed, and they have good, complementary receivers and running backs. It said Coach killing McCarthy. Yeah. McCarthy was bad, and Matt Lafleur is a very good coach, and I think his relationship with Aaron Rodgers is really well. That's why you're seeing the Packers do what they do. All right, now moving on to the nightcap. I'm a little disappointed in the nightcap game. Buffalo Bills, Ravens, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm obviously, I'm a Bengals fan. That doesn't, that's obvious. But however, I really, 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 really thought that the Ravens was gonna make a push here. I thought they would really make a push, and for some reason, it just didn't happen. It was 3-3 at halftime, and I'm like, as bad as the Ravens are playing, I think they gonna pull this out because it's 3-3. They missed a couple field goals. It seemed like Buffalo was really kind of in control, but never really took took hold of the game. So I'm like, okay, they about to, I think Baltimore about to come and do something with this, and it just never happened. They get down the field, turnover, um, penalties, bad snaps,
Snap.
just all. It was just a little bit of everything that what can go wrong will go wrong. As soon as the Ravens got some momentum. Overall, what do you think of the game and how this game ended up turning out?
I mean, you pretty much hit everything on the nail. I would say that ultimately watching this game, it ticked me off. I had the Ravens obviously winning. Well,
Mhm.
not obviously, but I had the Ravens winning. And if they were to lose, it was not like this. Like you said, everything that could go wrong absolutely did go wrong. You're talking missed field goals, questionable snaps, crunch time. You turn the ball over. Like you said at the half, it was 3-3.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, okay, second half they're gonna come out and they're gonna take over the game, like you said. But
Mhm.
then Buffalo third quarter pop up with 14 points, and just the Ravens offense was one dimensional, and that is all. And that one thing was not working yesterday. And like you said, everything that would go wrong did go wrong, and it was that was just a bad game. A bad game, but ultimately, and I don't think the Buffalo Bills did anything special, in my opinion. I mean, I feel like the game was handed to you at that
Mhm.
point. They had no choice but to win at that point, and it's just overall just very irritating.
I know, man, I know, and I was rooting for Lamar Jackson. I'd be open about that. I really wanted him to make it to the AFC Championship. I wanted to be Lamar versus Mahomes, like we all
Or
wanted.
one, see,
What we expected to be for years to come, kind of.
hmm
Um, you know, but I'll go to some of these comments before I answer. Who hired the Bills OC? He loved the pass. Yeah, he do. He loved the pass. They don't have no running game. They don't have no running game to speak to in existence at all. So they just chuck it around the yard. Brian Dabo is the OC for them, and he's gonna probably be hired as a head coach somewhere after this year. I'm no Lamar hater, but he lost this one with the pick six. It was 10-3 in position to score. Yeah, and the throw was bad.
It was bad.
It wasn't even open. You had multiple Bills there. I just didn't see where he was going with the football or what he saw in the coverage there. D only gave up 10 points. You're right about that. Uh, I'm disappointed, And when I'm disappointed, I say full name. So Lamar Demetrius Jackson Jr. You gotta throw the ball better, man. You gotta get in the lab. You gotta learn coverages, and you have to learn how to throw this football. I love your athleticism. You bring something special. You bring something unique to the quarterback position. But however, they loaded the box. They had a spy on him at all times, and they said, "Throw the ball to beat us," and he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. And when you get into the playoffs, especially second round, where a team really, really. I mean, teams are good. You're not facing any garbage teams once you get to the second round. So they're gonna take away what you do best and make you beat them somewhere else. And it just never, never happened. Lamar Jackson looked uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Throwing the ball, it looked like he was unsure where he wanted to go. Mechanics was horrible. Throwing off his back foot, um, wasn't set. It's just he didn't look good last night. He didn't look good last night, and it shows if you take away the run from Lamar Jackson, you got the Ravens beat on offense. Yeah. I mean, you got the Ravens one dimensional. They turn them one dimensional, and that's what they did. And they just couldn't beat them that way. They just simply couldn't beat them that way. But hats off to the Buffalo Bills. They got their first playoff win in 26 years last year. I mean, last week. And then you turn around
Hmm.
this week, win another one. And they on their way to the AFC Championship game. Hats off to them. They played a really, really, really. They did enough to win. They did enough to win. They didn't turn the ball over. And they stuck to the script and won the game. That's what it's about: survive and advance in playoff time. All right, moving on to today's games. We're going to predict these games here. Let's start with the first one. We got the Cleveland Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Cleveland is coming off a huge win where we didn't think it was going to happen. But Cleveland's coming off a huge win against the Steelers. They are 10-point underdogs against the Chiefs. What do you expect, from this game? And can the Browns keep it close, or can they possibly win this game?
Uh, I want to say no. They cannot win today. They're not going to win today. Will they keep it close? Maybe. And I put that very optimistically. Maybe. I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. I do cats off to the Browns. Some people didn't think that they could win last week. Or maybe my hatred for the Steelers made me want them to win that much. I believed in them, but it. This is where it stops for me. You
Mm,
guys had a good season. You got over some humps. Today is where it stops. Let's not act like the Chiefs are not who they are,
right, right.
and that's
Uh,
what I got from.
Hey, and that you're right. You know what I mean. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, and you know what the Chiefs are gonna bring. One thing concerning me about the Chiefs is the layoff. Packers look good after the layoff. They look like they didn't miss a beat. But certain teams, you give them honestly, they didn't play the last week of the regular season,
True.
and then turn around, you get another bye. So you ain't played in almost 21 days. So you gotta, Russ is gonna be a factor. However, key for the Browns, first drive, get something. Whether it's three, whether it's seven, they got to get something on the first drive. And they have to establish the running game. If you establish the running game, which they're good at, with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, that keeps Patrick Mahomes off the field.
Right.
Do I think it will be a blowout? No. I don't think it'll be a blowout at all. However, I do see the Chiefs winning. I see them kind of pulling away late. I think last week's was the Browns Super Bowl in a sense. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? They
Mhm.
they won a playoff game. It was against the Steelers on top of that. After all the trash talking they've been doing, I just think, and not a letdown per se. I just think come back down to earth a little bit. You playing the Chiefs, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelsey, Patrick Mahomes, Le'Veon Bell, and those guys, and and you can't let them get up quick. If they get up quick, you're done because that forces Baker, we say here, they got to throw the ball, and then you're in trouble. But like I say,
Exactly.
if they can get a run game, if they can get a run game going, now that's a different story. Because that keeps Mahomes off the field. That puts a little bit more pressure on the Chiefs. So I'm just anxious to see who style wins out.
Hmm.
Will it be the ground and pound style, or will it be the Chiefs high flying aerial assault? But I'm going with the Chiefs winning this, and I got the Chiefs versus the Bills in the in the AFC title game. All right, moving on, we got the Tampa Bay Bucks versus the New Orleans Saints. Now, the New Orleans Saints. The week one beat them, and then on the Thursday night, the Saints really, really tore into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it was bad. Brady looked bad, and we was questioning if this is it for Brady.
Hmm.
But since then, they done got rolling, got high. Antonio Brown done got acclimated. They done got going a little bit. What do you expect out of today's game? Do you think the Saints can pull it off for a third straight time against Tom Brady, or do you think Tom Brady finds a way to pull this one out?
I I believe the Saints can pull it out. Rather, I hope that they do. Um, you did it twice this year. Although Tom Brady is Tom Brady, playoffs is a whole different story. Uh, but I am in hopes that the Saints can pull it off. It's kind of hard to say that against Tom Brady, but I'm hoping for the Saints mostly because Tom Brady is Tom Brady. I do not like that man. Uh,
Mm,
and I see this game being close. Uh, for me, I don't see a blowout. I see this being close. I would think that the Saints are probably. I think they would have to start off early though. I don't see this being a late game pull off for the I feel for Drew Brees. This is also a this is it kind of thing as well. Uh,
yeah.
he's getting up there too. Um,
Mhm.
and I feel like when those huddles to get over is. I mean, obviously you have to face Tom Brady in the playoffs, but I do feel that Drew Brees is he's got. I think he has his game pace on too, just like you mentioned about Aaron Rodgers. I feel like he's done that all season, and hopefully he continues to do it today.
To Tampa Tom, Breeze is old. All right, let's see. I'm
Brees is
looking at the game. Yeah, I mean,
up.
I'm looking at the game, and I now don't get me wrong. I think the Saints defense match up very, very well with the Buccaneers offense. However, I just can't see Tom Brady losing three times to one team. I just can't until I see it happen. I can't believe it, and I'm not gonna believe it until I see it happen. Somehow, some way, I just got a feeling Tom Brady's gonna pull this off. He's gonna pull this off. They're gonna win. It's gonna be a close one. I don't think it'll be a very high score. I think it'll be like a 23-20 type of game.
Mhm.
I don't trust Drew Brees anymore.
Really?
Them duck passes he be throwing. You know, I'll be like, man, they don't got no sauce on them. Um, you know, I just don't. I don't know if I trust Drew Brees right now, man. I can't see a team beating Tom Brady three times, and I'm looking at how they've been playing towards the latter part of the season up till now. It's a different Bucks team. They have
Yeah.
chemistry. Especially with Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown is still a dog in this league, and I think we forget, despite all the crazy stuff he does, we forget how good he is. And that's another weapon as well. Um, you know, and it's a big point here. The Buccaneers get David White back today, and I think Devin White, but Devin White is definitely a solid linebacker. That's huge for them. A lot of people. Oh, he said we got another. He said time goes
Some
down
goes
today.
down. I like you, J.
Time
Cook.
goes down. He said, like I told you, the Browns was gonna win. You got lucky one time with the Browns. Now,
Oh,
don't keep riding that Browns win now, Jay Goop. Now,
Lost me at the Browns.
hey, I give you credit for picking the Browns for sure. But we'll see. But he said time goes down today. We'll see. I mean, it wouldn't be an upset. Saints favored by 3. So I got the Bucks though. I got the Bucks. I think they do find a way to win today. Now, don't get me wrong. If the Saints beat them, I'm not tripping. I think you can get Tom Brady out of here. I just don't see it happening. I just don't see them losing 3 times to one team. I can't see it. And I understand, and I think it might be the last game we see of Drew Brees this year, or moving forward. I think he'll retire.
That's what I
If they
feel.
lose for sure, I think he'll retire. But I think today will be the last game you see Drew Brees. Moving on. Last week we were singing a different tune of those Brooklyn Nets. Now, and for the people watching this show, I want y'all to realize this. I don't know how many people watch, the show that I be on All Sports All Plays, Real Talk. But I said this months ago, before Woj brought it up, before Sham brought it up, before any of these major networks brought it up. I said James Harden is gonna go to Brooklyn. Because I said they got the best pieces to trade for him, and I said they're gonna create this big three with KD, Kyrie. I said this months ago, and it happened. It happened. So now, remember, we was talking about if Harden went to Brooklyn, will this work? And then we actually did a show. We did a pop-up show, and we was talking about will it work? Now, Harden triple double in his debut, 32, 14, and 12. KD with 42. And guess what? We missing another piece. That's scary when we talk about the Brooklyn Nets. So, question to you, Tor. Does this change? What do you think of Harden's debut first? And does this change your mind of the Brooklyn Nets? Are you a little scared of them since you're a Laker fan?
I'm gonna go with Harden had a good game, phenomenal game actually. And while I think that Brooklyn was always going to be um, a potential threat, I ain't sipping the Kool Aid just yet. Like you said, we still missing one piece, and that is always the one that we have continued to question. Will he buy in? Will he do right? Will he be? Because he's not second fiddle anymore. He's third fiddle. And he didn't like being second fiddle. So I'm not drinking the Kool Aid yet. When Kyrie comes back, and I got to see this for more than just 1 to 2 games, I got to see consistency for me to believe that this is going to work. Because in my opinion, you need to put at least 3 more basketballs out there for this to work at a time. You got 3 ball dominant players. Who gonna take that step back? I can see KD doing it, but this man still had 42 points. What will happen when you put Mr. Irving on the court?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Well, you said drinking the Kool Aid. Well, I'm drinking Kool Aid. I'm drinking it all because you know what? You know, Harden is a great facilitator, man. He's a
As we've
good
seen.
facilitator, really. He really is. I mean, he did it in Houston as well. He can facilitate. Um, James Harden is happy.
Yes.
James Harden hasn't been happy in years. By the way, I mean, I know he's been with Houston. And he's didn't really complain until now. But James Harden hasn't been happy in a long time, man. And you see him smiling on the court. Now we gotta bring something up though. Was James Harden wearing a fat suit?
Who?
Because
Yes.
all of a sudden now with the Nets, he looks skinny. He thin now. I'm looking at him like, hey, did he lose 10 pounds in a night? How did this happen? Uh, I think my guy here, Sosa said he was wearing a Big Mama suit, the Big Mama house suit on. Like, I mean, it had to be something though. It had to be
Something.
something because there's no way you that thin all of a sudden. But anyway, the Nets played the whole NBA. They played the whole NBA into this trade. They said, Kyrie, You take a leave of absence. They act like you crazy. It's okay. We know where you at. And now Harden talked about his team so bad to the point where he couldn't go back to the locker room. It was obvious Houston Rockets had to
Hmm.
do something. It was the perfect recipe. So it looks like the Brooklyn Nets had to make this move for Harden. And it didn't have to include Kyrie. You see what I'm saying? Because Kyrie crazy, don't want to have to deal with it. You know what I mean? And things like that. So, and plus, all you kept hearing is, oh, if Houston wants Kyrie, Houston wants Kyrie in the deal, Houston wants Kyrie in the deal. So they say, okay, let's lower your value real quick, Kyrie. Go AWOL. We act like we don't know where you at. We know you coming back. And then once we make this trade, we'll suspend you or whatnot, or fine you or whatnot, and you come back and we ready to go. I think he was all for that because they wanted this to happen anyway. They wanted this third piece, and I think they played the whole NBA. Really, ain't nothing wrong with Kyrie. Ain't nothing wrong. You know what I mean? He a little off, but ain't nothing too wrong with him. But this gonna work. This gonna work, and you know why? It's because KD don't need 30 shots to get 30. He could get you 30 on like about 15 shots, get to the line, all of a sudden you blink, he got 30 points. That's how efficient Kevin Durant is. And it doesn't take a lot of shots to get his because he's so efficient. And I think he'll let Harden, Kyrie do their thing. And plus, we got even though he's fully back, I think KD's fully back, but he's still coming off of Achilles. I don't think he wants
Yeah.
to go out there and
So,
chuck up 30 shots. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's gonna help this big three, and I think it
and
works. I think they make it to the finals. It's gonna be Nets and Lakers, and I think we're just waiting on it.
and I want to talk about that in just 1 second. It's just not even just Kevin Durant coming off that Achilles. He obviously he probably wants to not be so. It makes him lax a little bit when you have somebody else out there that can do it. But also with Kyrie, Kyrie ain't the healthiest player either.
Mm-mm.
And so I feel that maybe that if it does work, it is that maybe they're thinking more of a longevity thing here. Uh,
Yep.
if I ain't got to be the man to drop 30 points every night, I got something. I got two other players that can do it. At this point, I can relax a little bit. I ain't got to put my body out like that because,
Mm-hmm.
like we just mentioned, Kyrie. I don't know if Kyrie's finished a season healthy.
Probably since y'all won your title.
Yeah, I was like, I can't think of the last time that Kyrie hasn't been out with some sort of injury. And
Mm-hmm.
then Kevin Durant coming up that to prolong his career,
Yep.
you need
Yep.
you got to relax, and that's what I think a lot of people perhaps. I got to throw my boy out there with LeBron and his longevity
Mm.
is
Yep.
that I see LeBron ain't he chilling most of the time
Oh
going
yeah,
through it,
he's career low in minutes right now. Him and AD.
and but still it still works, and so maybe players are starting to look at it that way.
Baby. And I go back to some of the comments here. It says the Nets are loaded, and my Lakers need to get Levine or Bill ASAP. What you think about that, Tori? You're a Lakers fan now. Do you think y'all need another piece to continue, or do you want to kind of stand pat? Because remember, y'all do got a nice bench and everything like that. Nets need a bench.
Exactly.
Nets
Yeah,
need a bench.
exactly. And that's where I'm going to go with that. I don't think we need to go get another big player. I think that what people keep failing to realize is why the Lakers are winning. They have pieces. They have phenomenal role players. Yes, you got three players that probably can drop 20, 30, 40 points, but we get that with our bench.
Hmm.
And on top of that, we have two stars, AD and LeBron, and then, but we get 16 points out of Kuzma, we get 16 points out of Herrera, we get those points divided amongst other players. So no, I don't think that we need a big player. I think that the one piece we do need to move is our centerpiece.
You ain't getting nothing for Gasol.
Nah,
I'm telling
no.
you, you stuck with Gasol for this year. That is what it is. Y'all stuck with him, but you know who playing really well for y'all, man, and he used to get so much slack, so much disrespect. It's Caldwell Pope.
Pope. Mm-hmm.
He earned his money to me, man. He earned his money. You know, the way he's playing, he plays defense all the way, but now he's knocking down that three with consistency. He's knocking that three down with consistency, and that's another piece for y'all as well. I think y'all stand pat for a little bit. Now, if y'all get in a little trouble, you may have to, make a move. But I think you stand pat with the team you have because I think it's good enough still, to win it all. I really do. Let's see here. It said Lakers in six still. That's possible. That's possible. But I'm just saying it's a lot of firepower that you're dealing with the Brooklyn Nets. I said this is the honeymoon stage. Yeah, it is. It is. It is. But I think James Harden. At some point in your career, you get tired of doing it all almost. I know he had some help a little bit, but him, dropping 30 a night, 36. I mean, he had a year where he averaged 36 points a
6 points a
game.
game.
Sometimes you just don't feel the need, don't want to do that every night. Think about James Harden's going to have nights where he has 18 points, 8 rebounds, and like 15 assists. He's Kyrie's gonna be off the ball. KD gonna be off the ball. He gonna be running the show. It's gonna be interesting to see. How everything comes. Man, it's wild, bro. Lost that weight in 2 days. I don't know how that happened. But seriously, I mean that's crazy to me for sure. All right, moving on here. Uh, Biggest threat to the Lakers in the West now, because it's looking like the Lakers is just really going run away with this West. I'm looking at the teams and I'm just like, nah, I don't think they can do it. I don't think they can do it. Is there for I'm gonna ask you for first for the Lakers, because you're a huge Lakers fan. What biggest threat in the West do you see for the Lakers? Moving forward, once it's playoff time, who do you think will give them the biggest test there?
Um, for me, like you said, it just for me, for the Lakers, it does seem like they're just kind of taking off with everything. For me to actually pick a biggest threat at the time in the West, I have to go with what I keep going with is the Nuggets. And I say that because of our very weakest link is our center. Um, that matchup is that pushes AD to play that center role, and he's have said that he does not want to. He does not like that. He does not like that role. He doesn't like that fit.
Hmm.
And while I think he's capable, but watching the playoffs last year, he struggled. And for me, in that matchup, Dwight Howard was everything for us. Jokic still got off, but he gave him a problem. He was clearly visually frustrated by the problems
Hmm.
that Dwight, and we don't have that piece anymore. Who's going to give him a problem this year? So that's what I feel is our at this time. Now, like I say in general, I probably would say Brooklyn, but for the West, it's for me, it's the Nuggets.
Yeah, you got the Nuggets. I'm gonna go full blown homer here. I'm going with the Mavericks. I think the Mavericks could be a big threat in the West. We're just now getting healthy, but that's the key word: staying healthy with us. It's either
Hmm.
Kristaps Porzingis out or we miss a huge piece like last year. Dwight Powell tore his Achilles, and it really hurt us at the big man spot. But I think healthy, if we come in healthy, I think the Mavericks are could be a big contender. It could be a big threat. I think they beat the Clippers last year. If KP don't go out, and if they don't rob us game one by ejecting him, I think we beat. I think we I think we beat the Clippers. I don't think the Clippers make it past the first round. To be quite honest with you. And I think, with the second year of playoffs for Luca, we seen it wasn't too big for him. I think he could take over a series. But with him and LeBron and Luca. I'm not saying that, LeBron is obviously still better than Luca, but they're almost kind of the same player where they could give you 28, 10 and 10, the triple doubles, the type of triple doubles they produce, almost the same. Now, the key thing is going to be KP versus AD. That's going to be the biggest key. Can KP hang in there? Can he hold up? And can he not necessarily stop Anthony Davis, but can he slow him down? You can't have Anthony Davis having those 30 and 15 performances, with 3 blocks. You get that from him, it's over. That game is won for the Lakers. So I do think we can compete. Um, but the key is being healthy. Got to stay
Mhm.
healthy
Mhm.
moving forward. That's going to be the biggest part for us. If we stay healthy, I think we'll be a huge threat. If not, yeah, I think I can see us being a first round exit. Once again, because we're a team where, you know, outside of KP and Luca, we got a decent bench, but I don't really trust anybody else. You know what I mean? To be quite honest with you,
Exactly.
I do like Josh Richardson. He's not healthy right now. That's what I mean by health. We're just not healthy. So we'll see how you go with that. But I do like the Dallas Mavericks as a threat there in the West. All right, before we get up out of here, NBA. It's only been about 3 weeks. But we've been talking about the good in the team. We got to talk about some of the disappointing ones. So I'm gonna go to you on this one. What's the most disappointing team in the NBA to start the season so far?
So far to start the season, I would say my disappointing team. It would have to be. I have two.
Hmm.
Uh, it's the Miami Heat,
Mm.
and of course, I got to pick on the Pelicans. Um, for me, the Miami Heat to be coming off of a finals appearance, and I do believe that COVID has played a part into this. But even prior,
Mm.
uh, they just, I don't know. I mean, what happened? You know, they're just not that. Did they leave it all at the finals appearance, or you know?
They could have.
And did they gas out already? But I don't. It just for me, I feel for you coming off that finals appearance, and you're talking about not to change with your team. So I feel that you should still be that dominant team that you were last year. Uh, and then moving on to the Pelicans, obviously, uh, I ain't gonna pick on me too much today, but I feel that the Pelicans are maybe I'm just looking at it the wrong way, but I feel like they have too many weapons to be so bad.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
got a Brandon Ingram, you got Zion, you got Josh Hart, you got Bledsoe, you got Lonzo.
Yeah, I say, come on, say it, yes.
You got Lonzo. Why? There's just so many pieces there that I don't understand. Well, I mean, at that point, I have to start looking at coaching. Uh, you
Steve,
have
man.
pieces. You should be more competitive than what you are, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
Maybe not a top team in the West, but definitely more competitive.
yeah, yeah. With the Pelicans, just to touch on them. I know it sounds crazy because you look and you look at Zion and you know um he's supposed to have been this big star, and I think Zion is kind of a problem, and I know
Really?
yes, I really do, because this is the thing, you know like last night I watched. I mean, yeah, not last night, but the night before last I watched him. I watched him play. He had 21 and 12. I mean, don't get me wrong. Zion can get a bucket, but I look at his gameplay and I watch him play. I watched it because I watched the game extensively. I'm looking. I'm like, he's a clog. He's a clog in the offense. He's not even shooting mid range jumpers now. He forget a 3-pointer. He's not even taking the mid range they give him. He got he don't have no moves. He catch the ball. He going left. 1-2 dribbles. He gonna power up and try to chuck you. There's no finesse in this game at all. You can't truck through everybody in the NBA. I watched every time he catch the ball. 1-2 dribble, power up going left. 1-2 dribble, power up going left. He tried to go right one time and they'll still have to shoot it with his. It was just so goofy. It was just like, come on, man. Come on. It's just, to me, I don't understand. These guys get to the NBA and they don't develop their game. They're the same player that they were in college. And for me, that's not going to get it done. I told people this. I said, look, to be the number one pick, you have to be able to control the game in more one way than scoring. And, basically, he's a slasher. cutter, finisher. That's
Mhm.
not good enough for a number one pick overall. You can't
Mhm.
facilitate. You really can't bring the ball down. It's like, I don't know what I mean. Like I said, Zion's not bad, but you see how quick the hype died. It ain't
Oh,
Zion,
absolutely.
Zion, 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 Zion. They ain't shoving Zion down our throats like they was trying to in the bubble. They started to realize like, hey, Zion is good, but he's not going to be this transcendent player. He's not going to be the next LeBron, is what you call it. Look, because LeBron came in being a point could facilitate, could make others better. Zion ain't making nobody else better. I mean, who is
I
he
can
making
see that.
better? So for me, I'm not huge. I was never huge on Zion. I knew he was going to be the number one pick because of his athleticism and he's box office. But however, he needs to develop more of an offensive game, and defensively he sucks. Um, you have to develop
I can
more
see
of a
that.
an offensive game. You got to be more than two dribbles left, power up over your right shoulder. You got to be more than that. I'm sorry. Oh no, whoa. This I gotta respond to this. Geez, what year is he in? You expect his game to evolve that quick? He's the number one pick. Hell
Uh,
yes. Hell
exactly.
yes.
Thank
I
you,
expect
Mr.
his
J.
game to
Coop.
develop
He
fast.
he had a first of all, and at that point, isn't that on his coaching staff in a sense to help him
Hell
develop?
no. This is
No,
on him
it's
in the
not.
off. This is on him in the offseason working on his
Okay.
game.
I agree with that. But if he plays the role that I feel like he's given.
He plays a role that he can only do. He can't do much of anything else. We've seen
What year is
it.
he? What year is he in, Cam?
He's in year two.
He's in year two, but and Lonzo's in what year? And you still got hope for him? You say
Because
he can
Lonzo
develop?
can do more. Lonzo can facilitate for others. Lonzo can rebound. Lonzo can defend.
Okay,
He don't
all
have to
right.
score to be effective.
Okay, what? Give Zion them extra years that you gave Lonzo. Lonzo can't score. Lonzo can't shoot.
Man, Zion ain't even trying to shoot it, and he can't shoot. But my thing is this: when you the number one pick in the draft, it's about the hype too. The same people that's asking me, the same year people that's asking me, even my brother, he's in the second year with hardly no first year. The hype was supposed to be so big, he was supposed to be the next big thing. Am I correct?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
correct.
he was supposed to be the next big thing. He was supposed to come in the league and tear it up.
But what was Lonzo supposed to be?
Lonzo, look. Let's face it. LeVar sold Lonzo into being the number two pick of the draft. It is what it is. It's his
Okay,
daddy though, not the
okay,
media.
okay. I feel you on that one. I get you. I see where you're going on that one.
You know what I'm saying? Like if it's my son, he the best. He's the best motherfucker out there too. Excuse my language, but he is. He's the best person out there.
He's in year two with a questionable year one start.
Who fault is that? Because he fattened out of shape and can't and his knees can't hold up. I said
I'm
this.
saying, I'm
All this
saying,
athleticism.
give him, give him, give him the time that you gave Lonzo.
Okay, I guess that's fair. I'm just saying, for a person that's supposed to be the next LeBron James, who they shove down our throats from year one to year two, especially when you didn't even make the playoffs in the bubble, so you had more time to work on your game than anybody else.
Hmm.
Get right, man. Make
Okay,
an
I'm just
elbow
saying, be
jumper.
fair. I'm just saying, be fair. I don't
I'm
care
just saying,
which
you
way
can't
the
make
hype
an
coming
elbow
from.
jumper. People play you in the paint. You can't catch the ball at the elbow and hit a little jumper, and you the number one pick. I don't know, man. Like I said,
Okay. Yeah,
Zion.
whatever.
Like I said, Zion. He got talent. The athleticism is unreal, but I just don't know. I really don't. He need more skills to me. He need more skills to
I
me.
agree. I agree. But he's two, year two,
But I know, but he ain't progressed not
one and
one.
a half.
He hasn't gotten better. Not even anywhere in his game hasn't gotten better. Bad free throw shooter.
Yeah,
Now
I can agree with that.
I remember last year he came in his first game. He shot 4 threes, made them. Now he won't even shoot them. I'm sorry. As
But
in the
why? But
NBA,
why is that?
in the NBA as an NBA head coach, you can't tell a player what shots to take. They're gonna take what they want to take. No, you
Oh,
can't. You
okay,
can't. Or you
okay,
out the
okay, okay.
I'm just saying the players were in the league. We see Russ for years. I would have been told him to stop shooting threes, but he jack them up anyway. You know what I mean? So you're not telling no NBA player
But that's
what
rough.
shots they gonna take. It's crazy.
Okay, okay,
So
coach.
all of a sudden he just not taking threes no more. He won't take an elbow jumper. I'm like, man, come on, man. Yeah. We'll see. I'll be fair, I guess. I'll give Zion year 3 or 4.
Okay, all
And
right,
we'll see where he
all
is.
right, all right.
But if he's still this dunker, and if he's still this 1-2 dribble power up dude, I ain't with it. I'm not with it. Now I know Jay Coovey, wild coach, you gotta stop, please. Everyone's supposed to be the next best thing. Y'all always comparing everyone to LBJ. Like, no, the media comparing to LBJ. It wasn't us. I never
Okay.
I he wasn't
Well,
gonna
let
be
me tell you this.
responsible.
But Lonzo, who was Lonzo supposed to be? The next what?
He's supposed to be the next Magic Johnson. That's what
Exactly.
Magic Johnson said. To hype.
He ain't no magic in that broke jumper, nothing, nada. And you want to get mad? You can't get mad about where the hype coming from. The media, his father, the media hype Lonzo too, man.
They didn't hype Lonzo like that. I don't think I don't, look, because it was questions of whether him or Fox was the better prospect. But it made sense for LA because he was from LA. LeVar done
Yeah,
hyped it. It made
and
sense.
Lonzo went. When did he go in the draft?
Number two.
Number two. Okay.
Number two overall.
All right.
Yeah, so he went high.
Okay.
You know, he went
I'm
high.
just saying.
Uh, hmm. He said Tory take over the show. Cam tripping. You always think I'm tripping, J. Cool. That's why your Buckeyes got smacked.
I knew it
Damn.
was going.
Yeah,
All
I know I'm
right.
getting
You about to
blocked now.
disfigure.
I'm getting blocked now. That's why your Buckeyes got smacked. Anyway, Blake Griffin Jr. Exactly. That's who he is. Exactly who he is. He's Blake Griffin.
I'm not
Before,
calling it yet. I'm not calling it yet.
he's Blake Griffin before Blake Griffin start developing his overall game as far as being able to dribble and all that kind of stuff. Is a catch and a dunker. That's all he is. Catch, dunker, two dribble layup, man. That's it. But let's get to my surprising team. I mean, my disappointing team before we leave the show. My disappointing team right now. Obviously, you said one in the Heat. The Heat is just hasn't played well at all. But a team that was supposed to take a step that just simply hasn't taken a step is the Atlanta Hawks. They were supposed to
Mm.
from year 2 to 3, everybody's telling me Trey Young do the same thing Luca do. That's all I've heard when I argue Luca Trey, and I said nah, it's different. I said the stats may be the same, but it's different. And they say nah, nah, no, they ain't 30 and 10. I said okay. I said I think Trey Young is an empty stat man, but hey, that's just me. Now you added the pieces, obviously Bogdanovic got hurt. Rondo
Mhm.
hasn't played. Yeah, I get that. But you got a Capella, you got John Collins, you got Cam Reddish that's, picked up his game a little bit. You got a lot of young pieces that where in the Eastern Conference where the bottom is shaky right now, you should be solidly in the playoffs. It should be no, you shouldn't be 5-7. And I'm looking at Trey Young and his stats. They haven't been good as of late.
Mhm.
He's been struggling shooting the ball, and really, um, when you think of Trey Young, that's the last thing I would worry about if I was the Hawks. The last thing I would really worry about is the shooting of Trey Young. But now you gotta be a little bit concerned about that. Like, yeah, he had 26 points the other night against the Blazers. However, 7 for 23.
Mhm.
You
Mm.
see what I mean? He's
Yeah,
seven for
yeah, yeah,
23.
yeah. Exactly.
That's not it. And people want to say he's the next Steph Curry. Nah, that's not it. I'm looking at his numbers this year. They're down across the board. 23 points, just 8 assists, 26% from three, 38 from the field. That's just awful. To be quite honest, that's bad shooting. And and if he's going to shoot 23 shots a game, which means the volume is up, he has to shoot a
Mm.
higher percentage to help this team, get to the playoffs. There's no reason why the Atlanta Hawks should miss the playoffs this year. No reason at all. If he plays up to form, they should make it. But right now, it's disappointing. They sitting at 5-7, especially with teams like the Hornets at 6-7, 6-8. That's doing a little bit better. So I look at the Hawks. I'm like, nah, because I'm looking at the impact LaMelo's making for his team. They got them honestly, better instantly. And I'm looking at Trey, and I'm like, you put up numbers, but y'all not the W's not coming. So
Mm-hmm.
gonna be anxious to see, as the season go on, how the Hawks do, how the Heat do, will they pick it back up? And just to piggyback off of that, I think there was a fluke what happened in the bubble. I know a lot of people love the Heat. I think it was a fluke. I think a lot of
Exactly.
performances we saw in the bubble was a fluke. Like, Donovan Mitchell and Murray just snapping for 50 apiece and in the playoffs and everything like that. Um, for
You think
me, I think it was a fluke.
you think Murray and Donovan Mitchell is a fluke?
Not how good they are. I'm just saying, as far as them just dropping all those points,
Like
like it
those
was
points.
a game where
Okay.
they was going 40 and 40, 50 and 50. That type of stuff. That was a little. I think that
Mm,
was a little OD. But because the bubble give you AAU vibes all over. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
you think a lot of the young guys, Flourish, Harrow, Robinson, a lot of these guys that get used to the AAU feel, they flourished under the bubble. You had your guys that was older. Even LeBron, it took him a while to get used to the bubble. It took Paul George never got used to the bubble.
He never got used to it.
Malcolm never got used to the bubble. So the bubble is different for sure. Let's see here. I thought basketball was a team sport. It is a team sport, but guess what? It's a star-driven league. Your stars have to show up, Joe.
Literally.
Man, you know this. If in more than any other sport, basketball, your stars have got to. It's the most stars, driven league that we have in the world. So your stars got to show up. But for me, it's the Atlanta Hawks. Very disappointing. Um, you know, is what could it be that they only had basketball to concentrate on? Maybe that's maybe the case. But however, mentally it was messing up a lot of players because they couldn't see their family. So yeah, you can only concentrate on basketball, but mentally everybody couldn't survive it because they missed their family. Some have kids. Everyone is not 21, 22 years old. You had 30-year-old
Right.
vets that just had newborns, that wasn't able to see their kids. That affects you mentally in a negative way. Um, Especially in the bubble there. But those are my disappointing teams. The Hawks. I agree with Tori on the Heat, and you can lump in the Wizards too. I know. We're having Russ and Beal. You shouldn't be 3-8. Just shouldn't be 3-8. Not in the Eastern Conference. You know, Beal's out there dropping 30 plus. And they just find a way to lose. Russ jacking up.
Is Russ is Russ.
Yep, that's what it is. Russ is Russ, and it is unfortunate, man, because I like Bradley Beal. It's to the point where he has to get up out of there to see any type of success.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, that's it. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the games today. We got more NFL games, so obviously I'll be watching those. But hey, everybody enjoy it. And if you're off tomorrow for the holiday, happy for you as well. Well, let me see. What you mean not in the Eastern Conference? I'm lost at what you was talking about there.
About I think being 3-8 in the Eastern Conference. I think that's what he was referring to.
I'm
Your
talking about
Wizard.
the Wizards being 3-8 in the East. It's no excuse when you have a player dynamic of a Russell Westbrook and a Bradley Beal. I think Scott Brooks is a terrible coach. Uh, the terrible. I think Scott Brooks is a terrible coach. He was the old coach of the OKC Thunder when they had KD and all them. I think it's time for him to be fired. If you ask me to be quite honest with you,
Hmm.
how long is he going to be the Wizards coach without having any results? I mean, he's been the Wizards coach for a while now, and they just keep losing and losing and losing. I mean, I don't understand the infatuation with Scott Brooks. I mean, he's had some of the best teams in the league with OKC and hasn't won anything.
True.
You said it like it's trash. It's not trash. 1 through 6 in the East is very, very good. But if you look at 7 and 8 right now, They're below 500. So the bottom of the East is not as good, but the East is better than it has been in years past for sure. Now you got the Nets, Celtics, other pieces. So definitely better. But like I said, the bottom is a little still needs a little work. But all right, that's it. We're about to head out. Another episode of Timeout with Coach Cam. We'll see you during the week. Peace.
Timeout, overtime, hot take, debate, penalty by so many yaps. We on the way. Unapologetic opinions, guests checking in, so I share on my social. Merch going up, my brother he going global. Ass hold it down for the ladies that need their own show. We'll be right back with it. Timeout with Coach Cam, we shouldn't miss.